everybody for coming. I will call our May meeting to order. First up is approval of the consent agenda items. Robin, anything of note here?
No, we're about a third of the way through the year, so we're pretty much right on track. Jeremy did notice some anomalies in our, for some reason, our people counter is showing lower numbers by a significant amount than last year, but we're not noticing less traffic. So he's going to have it checked out just to make sure that it is recording right. I mean, it's possible.
Where's that at?
It's on page 7, if you printed it out from Govenda. It's
15% drop.
yeah, like a 15% drop month to month, and 16% year to date. So it's significant, and we're just not sure why.
How does that work? How do you actually count people?
It's a very sophisticated system that actually reads faces. So like if you walked in, and then like dropped something, turned around, picked it up, and then walked back in again a second time, it would only count you once. If you walked
there's a
in,
camera on?
if you walked in with a baby, it counts the baby. It
Okay.
picks up on the baby's face. Like, it's very sophisticated like that. It's not like recording that, it's just
So-
noting that there are faces, so.
So we're down 15% for the month from the previous year or from the previous month?
16% for the year to date and 15% for the month,
Is that like this month, the last month, or this month, the same month last year?
same month last year.
Same month last year.
I'm
Yeah.
just wondering, could the electricity fiasco explain some of the, I mean,
That would
I
only
don't-
explain it going up though.
Well, we actually did have a significant increase for those 2 days as far as
okay,
traffic, so
all
it
right,
wasn't
so maybe the other way
that.
around then.
Including the
Okay.
4 hours I lived in Robin's office.
Yes, Bob lived in my office for a few hours. Let's see. On April 30th, people counters registered 1,551 visitors, which was a 37% increase over the prior week's Wednesday count of 976, which would have included the after school crowd.
Okay.
And then the May 1st, the next day, was a 27% increase over the previous Thursday. So
And there's-
it's,
I'm sorry.
we were very busy those 2 days for
And there's
sure.
no indication that there was a glitch or has been a glitch?
We've had problems with this software in the past, but he doesn't think so.
Okay.
He is going to have, put a call into the company just to see if they can review it all and make sure that it's counting accurately and things like that. But other than that, it's not something, I don't concern myself with statistics really. I don't know how much it matters all that much. I mean, we report these
So-
statistics to the state ostensibly for the state formula. They haven't run the state formula in over 20 years. So I don't think they really pay any attention to the numbers we put in. That's just my opinion and not the opinion of Mount Lebanon Public Library for the recording.
But circulation has not gone down, correct?
No,
The
our
same amount of stuff is
circulation
being
is
checked out.
Our programming, is, we've got a 20% increase in program attendance. So it doesn't make sense. We're just not sure what the problem is. We haven't had an
Less
issue
kids
with,
after school, did you get that lucky?
no.
Okay.
No, that's definitely not it.
Okay.
Seems like a glitch or a
It's some sort of,
system isn't.
I mean, I don't want to think it's us, but I mean, I guess it could be, but you would think we'd notice. And it doesn't seem to be less busy to us, but I don't know. The only other thing added in the consent agenda that isn't normally there is the audit letter, which I provide to you all every year. This is just saying, we had the audit, it was good. So we submit that to ACLA and to the state as well.
It's the very last page, right?
The last page of the consent agenda. Yeah, it's right after this.
I would just say I'm interested in this people counter thing, so update us in 2 months
I
on
will,
that.
I will do that.
Okay, any questions for Robin or concerns about the consent agenda? I would take a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
First Kristen, second Anthony, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any nays? Consent agenda is approved. Comments from observers. Robin thought we might have some. I don't see anyone here. No
I
one's
just wanted us to
online.
be prepared
Yeah.
if we did, so that, you know, it had been a few months since I sent those talking points out to you, and I don't know if Maura received them the first time through. Oh, you did, okay. I couldn't remember exactly when I had sent them. So, just wanted to make sure you all had those and had a chance to look at them again. We've, just one or two, I told Laura this was a testament to how many people actually do read the magazine, because it's only since the magazine article has come out that we've had any response from the people that are not 100% on board with this for whatever reason.
She's talking about the book sanctuary.
Yes.
by the way, in case-
With the book sanctuary, yes, for the reporting. So, but it's been nothing concerning or too serious. Just a few patrons with some questions that we were able to answer. And so far, that's all it's been.
Okay, so no one's online either.
No, but,
All right.
you know, I just.
Yeah, I know.
Nobody outside
It's all
us
good.
and Anne has this.
Well,
this-
Someone
I-
wanted
I
to
do
comment.
apologize for
Could
that.
have shown up. So we will move on to comments from the Friends of the Library, and I will turn the floor over to Susan.
Thank you. I have a good bit, to talk about. We'll talk about the plant sale. Thank you to every single one of you who supported us, either by being there to set up, being there to take it down, shop, whatever. Thank you. It was our best year, if we look at, total numbers. And I had two different figures, because I had all of my numbers on pieces of paper, and I added them up and got $4,088.33, which is a lot of money.
Did you say
But the
4,000?
woman, yes, 4088.33. The woman who was keeping everything on a spreadsheet where it all did all the math and everything was gathered, she, her total is $6,164.83. I'm not saying that's wrong. If I do the math, the difference is like, what is the difference? $2,076.50.
Does that include the
It looked
pre-orders?
like she had added it and then subtracted it, or maybe just added it. I don't really know, but I think that $2,000 might have been profit already counted. I can't say for sure. I will let you know the real number. I sent her an email asking not to check her math, but just to let me know, had anything been duplicated. We sold 30 birdhouses at $35 a piece.
Very nice.
We had to pay $200 for the lumber, the man did not want paid for the work. So that was $850 for adorable
That's wonderful.
birdhouses. How crazy is that? The day of the sale, the actual money that came in here was $4,929. I just say that because it's so much bigger than it was before. It was, and I know the community looks forward to it. I know they support it. But when you see it in dollars and cents, it's, to me, jaw-dropping. And I'm gonna keep talking about it. It was a challenge. And things that probably nobody knew this. I certainly didn't. Maybe you do or don't. Farmers had to pay an increase of 25% on their dirt. And there's very few dirt farms in the United States. Price of dirt, their cost went up 25%. They have to buy their dirt from Canada. So there's complications. I mean, people who are just minding their own business, trying to grow things are, and how I know that, the young man who delivered the plants, I said, you know, it's kind of pricey, and I know you do your best, blah, blah, blah. And he said, my grandma said, and the grandma is the one that runs the farm and has the final word. He said, my grandma said, we cannot take anything else off of this. We are as low as we can go. And then he told me that story. And I wasn't trying to strong arm him, it's making
Yeah.
conversation. And I'm glad I did, because now I know a lot more.
You got the dirt on the dirt.
I do, indeed, I do. Other issues were, we couldn't get hanging baskets at a price that anybody would be able to upsell and sell until the Saturday before the sale. And then we did find somebody who would sell them to us at a price that we could, that make money, would make money.
And I think they were all gone before noon, weren't they?
They were. I mean, they were flying out and they were so beautiful.
They really were.
And I'm gonna say, if anybody ever wants to shop in the Strip District at Bob's Market, they are, they're amazing to deal with, but their product is beautiful. We didn't have herbs until that day either. So, and they went pretty quickly as well, because we didn't really know how to order, because it was like just being in just a different universe. So, and we had everybody here who volunteered, excellent, but we had prime volunteers from our regular volunteer group. They were up and ready, they
And it was
all knew the
dry,
alphabet,
and
they
it
were,
was sunny,
yes, sunny and
Nobody
dry,
was-
we didn't have to,
yes.
we didn't have to have somebody sit in the rain for 4 hours. So, so thank you to everyone. A halfway funny thing, I got an email from somebody who said, I wanted to order zinnias. This is what I got. I don't know if they're zinnias. Because there was a little tag inside that said geraniums. So I looked at them and I sent her something back. I said, I bought zinnias. They look just like that. The tag that said geraniums probably fell off on the floor. Someone just said, I'll be a good person and put it in there.
Well, they have very different leaves, so.
Very, very. But it was, so she had a laugh and I had a laugh, and it kind of, it was, to me, it was just funny, but the whole day was fun. Let's see. What in the world? Oh, I will be, I think I've said before, I'm going to be going to the Pennsylvania Library Association event in October. But I'll also be presenting one of the sessions with the PCBL president. And the topic is membership and general friends growth and overcoming obstacles. And I feel I'm well equipped to do that because I've been at, it's just been a good thing. And I know what it's like if you're coming in and you're not where you'd like to be and how to get. So I'm looking forward to that opportunity. Something else we did, the bookseller, we were able to take part in the book crawl, which was sponsored by small book shops. And so one of our volunteers, Mandy, knew somebody who knew somebody, and she's a librarian in the school district. And that was the day, it started the day of plant sale, and it went all week. I couldn't tell you how many people, because there were already a lot of people here, but I compared the dollar figure from that week just to the week before, just to kind of, because for this time of year, 1 week is pretty much the same as the other, unless you've got something else going on. Many people came in with, they had passports and stamps and stuff like that. Starting on the 10th, going until the 18th, I guess, we took in $2,709. The previous week, it was $1,340, so it was a significant increase. Would we do it again in a heartbeat? Just about everybody said we didn't know you were here, everybody was shopping, stacks of books, so it was amazing.
It was on social media too. People
Yes.
would post like, oh, the Mount Lebanon Library is part of the book crawl, because a lot of people went to the Woolly Bear in
Yeah.
Carnegie and the one in Dormont.
Yeah, it was bigger than the county. Most of them were in the county, but I think one or two might have been right over the county.
The county or the city?
Pardon?
The county or the city?
The county.
County line.
Most of them were out of the county?
No, most of them were, I'm sorry, in the county. Only one or two was out of the county.
Okay.
And let me think if there's anything else. Oh, so our fiscal year ended in April, the end of April, and for the year, the bookseller made $94,500.
Wow.
So if you wonder, what in the world do those people do out there? They are selling books, and most of our books are at $2. Some of them are more. But they're pretty much, the online bookshop would be a little bit, would be higher, but still a good bargain, a good deal. So, when you, it's, again, it's another jaw-dropping thing that happens in this building.
Is that the
Average
highest
about
ever?
6,000 a month, pardon?
Is that the highest ever? Just curious.
I do not know that.
It's okay.
It's higher than last year.
Just curious.
It's higher than last year, I do know that, because I was like, holy smokes, and even the person who told me could hardly believe it, and I hardly believe it, she was like, oh my gosh. It's probably, I couldn't say, I'm trying to
Okay.
think, do I remember anybody saying, oh, it was something different? I
Total
couldn't say.
curiosity is all.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
We bring in about 6,000 a month. And that is definitely higher than we've ever done. The standard before was between 449.
That's wonderful.
That's
Yeah.
awesome, yeah.
It is. So I think that is all. So, thank you.
Thank you, Susan. Okay, I'm assuming Ann still is not showing up online.
No, I haven't heard from her. I don't have an
Okay,
email from
I
her.
believe we are without our commission liaison today, which is okay. Moves to my report. The only thing I have is that I still have some comments trickling in about Book Sanctuary, either from people I know who read it in the magazine and stuff, or people I'm friends with online who saw stuff I was sharing. It's all positive on my end, so that's gratifying. And I just wanted to echo Susan's thanks to thank everyone who came and helped for the plant sale. I know Holiday Inn and I were there for takedown. I hear some others of you were there for setup, and it's a lot of work, especially for Robin and the team that day. So I really appreciate people turning out.
I think Holiday was there in the morning as well. At least I thought I saw you.
Holiday pulling double duty on plant sale day.
Had to get out of the house.
And that's it for me. So I will turn it over to Robin.
Okay. Part of the requirements for our bylaws is that I let you know about new hires. Oh, wait, Kirsten, sorry. Anne is here. I do not see her.
Started to worry about it.
Can you hear me? Hup. Join as a,
I didn't have the participants window open. Have you been there long?
Ann, can you hear us?
I got it. Can you hear me now?
So
Yeah.
sorry, participants window open. Sitting there for too long.
No big deal. No problem. I'm sorry I have to be online tonight, but Election Day is a big day when you're an elected official, even if you're not running. You have to show up at things and shake hands and speak to people. And so I wanted to drop in for the meeting, and then I'm going to go back over to the polls. But they're not busy. So if you haven't, well, it's a little late if you haven't already voted, because you only have till 8. But please do your civic duty and vote. Commission is pretty quiet these days. We're doing really exciting and interesting things like approving contracts to redo streets, to put in sidewalks, to buy equipment, all the kind of stuff that is not particularly exciting, but it's how the town runs. We had a big response to the storm, as I'm sure you are all aware. We have not only, but we have 50 volunteer firemen in addition to our regular paid staff. 35 of them showed up on the night of the storm to lend their manpower to helping remove trees from streets and to help, get electric wires deadened and all the sorts of things that had to be done. Staff just finished up this past Friday with tree cleanup, and that's just our street trees. We don't clean up, obviously, trees that are on private property. but that's just from our stuff that fell. So we're a little bit behind in doing other things because of that. We're also going to take a very hard look at the 9/11 response. For any of you who tried to get through to 9/11 on the night of the storm, you would have found that you could not, that the system was overwhelmed to the point where it failed. And we've been very clear that that is not something that can happen, that we need to have a redundant system in place. So right now, all of our emergency response people are working on what would make sense as a redundant system so that in the future, if we have another one of these events and you can't get through to 9/11, you have another way to get through to, for example, the fire station if your house is on fire. You know, basic stuff like I don't know, it was horrifying. I can tell you I could get through because I was on the text chain with department heads and everybody. So I was driving around reporting trees that were down and things like that. But the citizens couldn't get through it, which is, you know, was really frightening to many people, and it should have been frightening. So that we're also looking at our response. It was well coordinated, and I think we did a great job, but there's always room for improvement. So we do what's called a hot wash, and we take a look at how we responded and what else we can do. My thanks again to the Mount Lebanon Library and the library staff. They were invaluable in helping people that had no power and no place to go. I mean, it really was remarkable what they were able to pull off for, you know, those days following the storm when people were at really loose ends. So thanks again, Robin. I think that's about it, unless any of you have any great questions for me. I
have one question, Ann. Don't we, like our 911 system, we share that with like other local southern suburbs, right? Or is
The
it whole-
911 system runs through the county of Allegheny,
Okay,
all done through Allegheny County. It's actually a big, it's a fairly large building and a pretty impressive operation that's out off like Beaver Grade Road, you know, on the 376 that goes out towards the airport. It's off one of those exits. I can't remember which one, I'm sorry. But I went to see it, and it appears that it should have been able to handle this, but it couldn't. So again, I think a redundant system, so at least the citizens of Mount Lebanon could get through to their own EMS and fire and police would have been really the way it needed to happen. So
that sounds pretty crucial and something worth looking at.
yeah, I thought so.
Well, part of the problem too was the Public Safety Center lost power and phones for a while,
Yes,
so.
they did. Because we talked about whether we could have had a redundant phone system, and they said, well, that wouldn't have worked because the public safety building phone system went down. So I'm not sure what it's going to be. Probably smoke signals. Bad joke.
Small library, we have a generator.
Exactly. We're gonna have to figure out something because it was very frightening if, you know, your house had been on fire or something like that, you wouldn't have been able to get through. So that's just not acceptable. So, there you have it.
Any other questions for Ann? Okay, thank you, Ann.
Thank you, guys. I'm going to leave the meeting. I apologize, but I'm off and running back to the polls. So I will
Okay.
see you all next time.
Bye.
Take
Bye.
care.
Thank you.
And before Robin takes over, I want to reiterate that too. It was, I mean, I made a joke because I was in Robin's office for like 4 hours, the first or second day I was without power, but I mean, it was.
You did try to find a place. upstairs.
Yeah, I mean, I did, there were people, Robin's staff had set up like power strips so that they could multiply the number of outlets they had
With all
stuff
the
in.
meeting rooms.
And there were people sitting in circles, like around the upper floor of the library, just charging their phones and talking, and I am of the big believer that that's a good use of the library, that we have that
They were
space and
thrilled, yeah.
capabilities
Yeah.
when people need that.
There was
so.
someone plugged in doing breathing treatments because we couldn't
Wow.
do that at home, so we were able to help her, so that was great.
I know that, I say this carefully and cautiously, because I don't want to sound like you're seeking publicity for it, but was anybody taking pictures that could be shared and comment on, you know, the library going above and beyond, during the first 48, 72 hours?
We
Of the
posted a
tower?
couple, yeah, a couple posts on social media. I mean,
Okay.
the pictures were pretty boring. They were just a bunch of people
People
sitting
sitting.
and looking at their screens. But, yeah, we did push it out on social media a little bit.
Okay. 'Cause it's, I mean, I say this politely, you didn't have to do that. Meaning, you know, create this whole, you know, ecosystem to make things work. And I think it's a good recognition that, you know, the library is much more than just a place to come to get books.
We always try to meet the community where they are.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Plus, you might have got a phone charger or two. It was like, this place is pretty cool. We should come back sometime.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, we'll turn it over to you for your report.
Okay, as I was saying before, for the bylaws, I need to inform you anytime there is a staff change. I don't necessarily always do that with our student pages, just because they come and go so frequently. They're equivalent to seasonal workers for the municipality. But as far as regular part-time or full-time positions, we are posting this week a part-time circulation clerk position. One of our clerks she is graduating with her master's in library science and moving to Connecticut, I want to say, somewhere over in that area, for a job in a library over there. And I told you last month that we were in the process of making a selection for a new part-time children's librarian due to Connie Matthews retiring. So we have hired Libby Benna. She's the first associate librarian we have hired, and we're calling it associate librarian because we're really not sure what else to call her. She does not yet have her master's degree, but she has several years of experience working as a librarian, doing programming for children. She's incredibly passionate and talented. We think she's going to do a great job. And when she earns her master's degree, she's, like I said, enrolled in school now, she will be promoted to librarian with that title and wage. But for right now, we're calling her an associate librarian. Let's see. So I have a list from Sharon Bruni of the help she's going to need on June 9th, which is our summer reading big day, our kickoff day. So let's see. We are definitely going to need volunteers in the evening from 5 to 6, 6 to 7. And we'll need help tearing down at the end of the evening at 8 o'clock with tents and tables and chairs. Public Works is gonna set up for us, but those guys only work, they work like 7 to 3 shifts for the most part, so they're not gonna be around in the evening. So we'll need help doing that. So if you're able to come in the evening, that would be great. We'll also have busy time, 10 to 12 and 12 to 2. So if you want to come, that's all going to be inside, like sitting, helping people get signed up for summer reading for the most part, and just like chatting with people. But in the evening, after 4 o'clock, everything's going to go outside. There's going to be entertainers and food trucks, and it's really going to be a fun outdoor party. Fingers crossed for good weather, and we'll need a lot of help there. So love to see you all be there that day, even if it's just for an hour. We would really appreciate just some help with the information tent outside, getting people signed up, talking to our patrons and residents, and you know, supporting the food trucks. One of the food trucks is Community Kitchen Pittsburgh, who we work with regularly and have a good relationship with. And then, like I said, tear down starting around 7:30. So
Can you send an email out to us with like those times?
absolutely.
And
The times that you need us
yeah,
in the
like-
day.
like-
to-
I 1,000% have a softball playoff game that day, but that's only 2 hours of time, so I could probably, before or after. I just need to look at my calendar.
And do you want us to RSVP, for lack of a better phrase, or just show up?
I'll send the email out and
Okay.
then you can let me know. I
Okay.
mean, you're welcome to show up and just hang out whenever, but yeah, it'll be nice to know that, especially for cleanup at the end of the night. Just, it's more a matter of, it takes one person 5 minutes to take down one of those tents. It takes 3 people 30 seconds to take down one of those tents. It just makes everything so much quicker the more hands we have. So, what's that? What else? If anyone is interested in attending the ACLA general membership meeting, the next one is June 24th at 7 o'clock. It's virtual. All board members are always welcome to attend those meetings, just to get an idea of what's going on in the county. There will be reports from the ACLA board, from Amy Anderson, who is the CEO of the Allegheny County Library Association. Sometimes there's a report from somebody from RAD. We'll be talking about the RAD formula changes at that meeting. So, yeah, you're all welcome to attend, and I'll send you out a reminder closer to the time. And then I told the governance committee already, but I'm going to be out a couple of times over the next couple of months. Next week I'll be out just for a personal family vacation all week. And then the American Library Association Conference is in Philadelphia this year. So I'll be attending from June 27th to July 1st. Anytime I'm not here, you can always get a hold of me, text me. I think you all have my personal number, so just feel free to ask questions. The only thing, next week, I'm gonna be with my family and my cousin's farm, where we spend a lot of time, is, when I say it's in the middle of nowhere, that hardly begins to describe it. So it doesn't, I do not get cell reception there most of the time. But if you text me, I will get back to you as soon as I see your text.
How do you attend those ACLA meetings? Is that a Zoom thing?
Yes, it's Zoom, and I'll make sure you all get the link.
All?
I think so, yeah.
Thank you. Committee reports. Governance committee actually did not meet this month, and we are gonna talk more about that in a minute. But for the moment, we can turn it over to fundraising, see what you guys like to talk about.
I want to first give and I've sent a note to the two of you about this, but Maura and Holiday have hit like 15 home runs in the last couple of weeks with identifying either sponsors or ideas or whatnot. So thank you. Personally, I think many of you know my 98-year-old aunt, who has stubbornly, I wonder where I get that, right? Lived in her home with full-time care for however many years she's had since dementia. That's no longer possible, and so we're now putting her into an assisted living facility. She's lived in New York all her life, so needless to say, getting her here, taking care of everything, my life has been a little bit discombobulated. So thank you and thank you. The effort you have given has been far beyond what I could have or any of us could have hoped for. So it was very much appreciated. I do want you two to sort of give everybody a sense of what you've talked about and whatnot, so that everyone has a clear understanding. And I'll talk about volunteers at the end. So you guys take the floor.
Go first. If you go.
She's taking notes feverishly.
Oh,
right?
Good point. So I'll tell about both of us. So Holiday took the lead actually and said, okay, she got all the databases from Marina and compiled them together into a Google Sheet and cleaned them up so that we could do a mail merge. And then she spent a ton of time finding various people's actual email addresses. So we don't send it to, dear neighbor. We were trying to send it to, dear Mara Brand, blah, blah, blah. So she spent a ton of time doing that, which was amazing because I had no idea how to do the magic. So while she was pulling all that together, I was writing, a one-page thing that basically said to them, you could either be a patron, donor, or benefactor, or you can be an advertiser, and here's how you do it. So that it was all on one page that, could go out as an email, very clear, why they're doing it, what they could do, and how to do it, was all on this one email. And then Holiday took the PDFs and made them, fillable, I think is the right word. So they don't have to print them and fill them out and mail them in, they could just email them back. And so the only thing that they physically would have to send to us is the check, which if they send us the PDF, we'll go back to them for the check, after the 22nd, which was the date that, we had the printing of the program extended to. It was supposed to originally be the 15th. And we were like days away from the 15th when we were like, oh, how about we do this? So we asked her and she said, yeah, you can move it out to the 22nd. So that's our new drop dead date for pulling all this together to print the program with all that information in it. So she's been doing that. There were a couple of hiccups with technology, but it happened, and have you heard that?
I haven't, and I did wind up using my own email.
Right.
And of the ones that I sent from there, only one bounced so far.
Right.
And I think by now it's been a day, I did that Monday morning.
Right.
So I think.
Yeah, so, we all, whether you've been in business and marketing or whether you've been on the receiving end of marketing, it's those multiple touches, is what you need to do. So this is another touch, along with all the other touches that have been happening previously. So we also, when she was trying to get all those email addresses, and then like I said, it was amazing what you were able to pull off. We reached out to both Eric and Kate to see at Mount Lebanon Partnership to see if they could help us. And basically, they very politely said, no. That's not the relationship we have with the businesses. When they give us their information, we specifically say to them, we will use this to communicate with you. We will not provide it to others. And they're, like I said, they're like, we can understand exactly why you're asking, but we can't do that. But Kate said, if the timing works out, she could put out a publication, a newsletter thing. So I wrote up another little thing specifically for her. And I don't know if she was able to do that because again, just the timing, I don't know when she does that kind of newsletter, if she sent it out as a one-off or what, but I did send her something that she could send to everybody. And again, included the fillable PDF so that they could click right on it and open it up and fill it in and email it back. So those were those things. And then I took the original letters that we had that said, here's how you can be a benefactor, here's how you can be a supporter, and started going out to individual businesses that were newer in the area, like Pula, for example. I put together a list and said to Marina, have any of these people been approached? And she marked which ones had and which ones hadn't. So I was going to the hadn't on the list. And because of timing and, we're getting closer and closer to the 22nd, at some point I switched from asking them to be advertisers to just asking them for raffle basket things, because it's easy, it's fast, etc. So now, like I said, quickly, after a few days of doing that, I switched to the raffle basket thing. And I'm trying to really focus on the multinational restaurants in the area, because the idea we have for the board basket is to use that welcome sign that's up by the book sanctuary exhibit, if that's the right word, display, and focus in on that multilingual welcome. Welcome to the community. We're all, it's a diverse community. So I've gone to Lizzie's, which gave me a gift card. Anthos, which said they would definitely give me a gift card, and also said they would provide us with product to include in the basket. Although I didn't realize or think about the fact that the baskets need to be displayed ahead of time. So I have to go loop back to them and say, yes, but, we have to have it be something like, Kings and.
Would it have like
jars
olive
things.
oil and honey?
Exactly. She said, come to me like the day before and I'll give you. And then she said what she would give me. And then I didn't put the whole thing together. So I'll have to loop back to her. I'm sure she'll be fine. She'll still give us a gift card. She'll still give us items. But anyways, so Lizzie's, Anthos, we already did have gift cards from Panaderia and La Gourmandine. So those four for sure. I spoke to Piola today and he was fascinated by this whole thing. I don't know if you follow them on Instagram, but they are very community oriented. They're hysterical their Instagram posts. So anyways, my point is, they're very much into marketing. They get it. So I'm confident Piola will give us a gift card. I don't know if this is how you pronounce it, but Itame, the place down by Hitchhiker, spoke to him today. He said, come back tomorrow morning. My wife's cooking. We'll talk to you in the morning. So I'll go back there tomorrow morning. I went to Amy's Bakery. They were, maybe. And I went to Kebabji Grill over, next day, close to Anthos. And he said, come call my daughter. Basically what he said. And the only one, obviously I could go to Topo and other, but that's the idea is, who is in that, people, what I have in mind is restaurants that are actually owned by people who were not born in Pittsburgh, right, or not born in the United States rather. So that's the idea, the welcome, the multilingual. And I don't know if we're gonna get a version of that poster and put it in a plexiglass thing.
Oh, you mean the welcome
Yeah, the
poster?
welcome poster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can order it from the American Library Association
Yeah, so
for you if
we
you
might
need
do
to.
that. And, I don't know if they do mugs or something with that same.
I know they have bookmarks and the poster, and I think they just have that size poster. I might be able to find
There's a
just an 8.5 by 11 PDF, but I'll see what I can find.
Okay, so that's the idea, is that we're leaning into that image. And then the other thing we talked about doing was taking international cookbooks from the booksellers, which we hear that the bookseller very kindly donates those to the raffle baskets. I didn't know that till today. So that would be great. There's some international cookbooks, and I actually, this is reveal a weird thing about myself. I have a bazillion cookbooks in my house, like literally probably hundreds of cookbooks in my house, some of which look like they've just come off of, the shelf of, your local bookseller. And so I already today put together 3 like pristine cookbooks in my house that are different international cookbooks. So, yeah, so there we are.
I told you.
That's amazing.
They, again, it has been, the email exchange among the 3 of us is, it's like 2 whirling dervishes, and I hope that's a compliment.
Yeah.
All right, volunteers, we have 8 open spots, 6 or 8 open spots left. And if we get, what we're doing at this point, or what I'm doing at this point is 2 people per station. Ideally, I'd love to have 3, just because, if somebody has to go home sick or whatever, it's nice to have multiple people there. But we've got almost every slot full, like I said, 6 people needed, 3 spots still open. And I think many of you, or I think all of you know, this is, I think, the first year we've ever had 8 gardens.
If we ever have before, it's been very, very few and far between.
Sure.
We've had years with 8, 7, we've had 7 a few times since I've been here.
And it's a testament to Marina, I think, more than anybody else, and that's not to criticize anybody else at the library for, but she is, she's both a covert and an overt champion of this event. And so I think 8 gardens this year is just fascinating. So I've got a few more emails out, people that I know, other people have suggested names and whatnot. So I will politely come to all of you if I still need a name or a suggestion or a friend or whatever. But I am cautiously optimistic that with 6 spots that will pretty quickly fill. There was someone who walked into the library the other day, just happened to strike up a conversation with Marina and said, I hear you guys need volunteers for the garden tour. Who do I sign up with? And so that started a really fun email conversation. So what are we, 32 days away? Whatever it is?
Yes, that sounds about right.
Whatever it is. And yeah, Matt and I have never had a good relationship, but I think we are in good shape. And again, these 2 deserve major props for leading the charge with soliciting businesses and whatnot. So again, my thanks.
Marina sent me posters.
Mhm.
She's talked to a lot of the businesses on Washington and Beverly. She says many businesses that used to agree to hang posters now no longer do, and she's not sure why that is.
Hmm.
So if you go somewhere uptown and you don't see a poster, feel free to ask again. But if you do the other shopping districts, like the Hitchhiker area, the Clothes Horse, not the Clothes Horse, what's it called? Free Parrot, that's down that area, Mount Lebanon Boulevard, any of those places, take a couple posters and just see if you can get somebody to hang them up for you.
Robin, on that, sometimes when they say they don't, and if you have a weak conversation, they may have a bulletin board inside, and if you have your own scotch tape. they'll
Right,
let you hang
right,
it
and
inside.
Marina's like, she's done this so many times that I don't know
The,
what, I know there's been a lot of turnover in the businesses uptown, so that it might have something to do with that.
Majestic Nails, they would put something in your window, or in their window. And Victorian Manor, I know
She's
does,
retiring.
but I don't know if she's, has a big sale going on, so I don't know, but
She's retiring, that's why, yeah. So, not sure. And Eden's Foods is under new management. There are all those new little coffee breakfast places uptown. I don't know. Lots been going on up there.
Just very quickly, I forgot to mention, if you know of someone who is interested, I think the perk that always is a great selling point is that person gets a free ticket to see all 8 gardens. And so that will often be the, wait, really, kind of moment. So, but for now, I think we are in good shape. All right.
The other two, besides all these food places I've been going to, Maria suggested I try, years ago, obviously her institution in Mount Lebanon, and the fit to the, garden tour couldn't be better. And so I went there twice and was not able to hook up with Derek Satterfield, he wasn't there. So I left them the material, and with the manager there. And then there's a restaurant down in Heidelberg called Brick and Mortar that I also follow on Instagram. And I think they have a garden behind or on the roof or something. Because I've seen him post about, that using their own produce.
Very nice.
So I talked to the manager there, and that's basically, I didn't tell her any of that, but she said, yeah, our owner is a big gardener, I'll talk to him. Now, I was talking to her specifically about the ads, or she was interested in the ads, and again, there's a turnaround problem there, I could, move back to them and say, how about a, raffle basket, a gift card, but, and, whether it's this year or next year, I think,
Your efforts are
yeah,
great.
it sounds like
Appreciate
something, yeah.
I stopped in at Puff Diggity tonight.
Oh.
Talked to them maybe about sponsorship.
Did you really?
I'm suddenly hungry, all this talk about restaurants.
This is a cigar dip shop.
Yeah, that's the vape shop by
Oh, no,
Betsy's
I've done
Ice
that all these
Cream.
other places you were mentioning, so, yeah.
He
So-
seemed receptive. I mean, I took his email. I said, I don't have my stuff on me, but I will email. I just didn't like all the negative comments that were on the social media about them. And I was like, no, I'm gonna make them loved by this community.
And what are we doing as the board's basket?
That's what she
This-
was.
the board one is the board
Okay.
one, and it is
So
the
should we
first
just
one.
give you whatever?
Well, that's my
ones we
question, is
want?
that all these people are donating these gift cards. Are we buying anything?
Yeah,
I mean, Suzanne did buy something.
And normally, yeah, I was saying
We could,
Yeah.
have the world's most
Biggest basket.
involved
Yeah.
gift basket. I don't, newbie here, I don't know, do we then become a benefactor instead of a gift basket donator?
I don't know.
My initial thought is, get the basket together with all the hard work you've done, and if you feel like there's something missing, something that would help, let us know, and maybe fundraising committee people can help fill that out.
Yeah.
Excuse me, that's my thought,
Mhm.
but it sounds like you guys are crushing it, so, thank you. Is that all, Anthony?
That is us for us, yes.
All right, we'll move to old business and space planning, which Robin
Yeah,
can
I
speak to while
don't-
I get another water.
I don't exactly have not sure where to go with this, is the thing now, because, the project got very much bigger than we had initially planned. And then we found out that the Keystone Grant will not be offered next year. So a couple of weeks ago, Amy and Chris from the Draw Collective, whom you all met last month, and previously emailed Jeremy and me and just said, you know, if you wanted to try to submit for the Keystone Grant this year, we could probably get stuff together. So Jeremy and I had talked a little bit about, like, okay, because we had kind of said we were gonna just put a pin on this, wait for the bond issue. But I told them, well, I'll talk about it. So I had them send me a more broken out estimate, and I'll pass this around. Basically, the idea would be to get phase one going with the Keystone Grant this year. If we did it, I talked to Ann about it a little bit. She said that they're probably just, you know, that they want to get something confirmed as far as getting this project going, and that we shouldn't feel pressured to do anything like that if we don't feel like we're ready. She didn't seem like to think it was something we needed to push. But I told them I would talk to you about it. So I've highlighted phase one. It's about 1.4 million. And it's basically that central corridor. So the big diagonal wall with the magazines on it that leads to the garden. We would be kind of knocking that around, putting the new bathrooms in, opening up the entrance to the garden, new circ desk, you know, things like that in phase one. And that's all the hardware and demolition and that kind of thing as well. So, I don't know how you all feel about it.
When's the Keystone Grant?
It's we have to have these stuff in by early October, I wanna say.
So this one, we thought we were skipping just because we thought it was too late to go for it, is that right?
Yeah,
But
we
now
thought
we
we
think
weren't quite ready.
maybe
Well, that's what they said, that they think they could get the stuff
And if we don't
together
get this
for
one, we
us
have to wait 2 years?
for the Keystone, not to start the
Right.
project, because what we had talked to Ann and Keith about was a bond issue next
Mhm.
spring.
And who's responsible for putting together the full Keystone pitch
That would be
application?
my staff and I. Marina normally does it. She's planning to retire in June of 26, so it would be whoever.
So doing it this year with Marina.
Marina would be
mean,
here, we would do it. this-
I feel like go for it if the staff has the time.
Is there any downside to
Yeah.
not doing this right now?
Work.
I just,
Beyond,
I don't know, I don't know. It just, it all feels like very complicated to me. Do you know what I mean? Up to $750,000, but there's no guarantee that we would get all of that amount.
It's up to 750 per grantee, is that right?
Yes,
Not,
so,
not their total
and it's
budget.
matching funds, so we would have to match that amount of money, which we are able to do. So if Draw thinks they can do it,
I mean, would Draw be doing the majority of the detail work for the grant?
I used to write grants.
they would help us get things together.
Okay.
The quotes and information we need, because Keystone is a very fiddly grant. Then after that, so we have it in by like October, and it's basically almost shovel ready at that point. And then we have to wait sometimes 3 or 4 months to find out if we get the money. And then after we find out whether or not we get the money, we have to wait until the window opens for us to start work. And then we have 18 months to complete the work within that window. So
How long do we have to use the funds from the Keystone Grant?
the 18 months, we can ask for an
18.
extension if we need to, but they want you to have it done within the window.
And what, oh, go ahead.
I'm
Pete.
sorry, no, go ahead.
What is the source of the funds, our matching funds?
Technically municipal funds, but we asked and we can use our donated funds for the match.
Okay,
So we don't have to ask the municipality to put in that money. That said, they already have in the capital improvement plan the intent to pay so much money towards the bathroom improvements. So I'm hoping they would contribute that amount. I think
But
is-
we can cover the match no matter what the
Yes.
municipality decides.
Yes,
And this was the one where we also talked about the Keystone grant is better, we have a better chance because of the bathroom ADA. Was that
Yes.
part of this?
yes.
Okay.
I mean, I imagine there's gonna be an incredible amount of competition, given
Yeah.
everything that's going on in the
Yeah.
world. We have no idea what things are gonna be like a year or two from now, and there's no Keystone Grant next year. So I imagine there will be a lot of people, a lot of different libraries applying. Doesn't mean we shouldn't apply. But they do, base it on need, and
If we,
we're still functional.
Yeah.
They're not up to current ADA standards, but they're not,
Yeah,
like we have,
there's options.
right,
Yeah.
if we apply this year and don't get anything, can we apply again for 2 years for the same project? And
I
maybe
mean, we
phase
would-
3 of this project, or,
yeah, we could apply again.
It's part of the concern, like, what if we get it and then we're not ready to move all the things that have to be moved in
It's-
that?
Well, it's just, this project has gotten so big, and there's so, Jeremy and I are doing our full-time jobs, and then it feels like this is almost another job on top of it to try to figure out how we do everything. It's not that we can't do it. We just want to make sure that we're all on the same page
Yeah.
as far as going forward with it. Once we get phase 1 done, are we going to then be able to move forward with the other phases? Because this all started with the grant to the children's library, and the children's library doesn't come until phase 2. So if we get through phase 1 and, the nation's in a recession, or for some reason we can no longer continue with this capital project, then we'll never have done what we had planned to do in the first place. And it's just, we're, whatever the opposite of counting chickens is, I think I'm kind of doing that. And I don't mean to be like pessimistic, but it's just, is this the right thing to do with that amount of money right now? We've been in very good shape for a very long time, and Marcia's told us how many times that we need to spend down our fund balance.
Yes, you don't.
Yeah. I knew she wasn't gonna let that go. And she's right, but
Yeah, I mean,
Robin,
so,
go ahead.
yeah, so I mean, and, not to just echo Marcia, but I mean, when she did explain to me about the fund balance, like, that is a pretty significant amount of money. I mean, I know
Yeah.
from, my just general work, if an auditor saw that, fund balance at a school district or municipality, they'd say, what, but, I was gonna ask if phase 1 gets completed, is there a time period where phase 2 has to occur, or can phase 1 sit there for some time in case we don't have the funding to go to phase 2?
well, I mean, yeah, phase 1 is the big hard part, basically. Phase 2 would be reading up the children's library, so that would be the new doorway to the story time room, just those trees with the sound baffling, and just like all the pretty stuff, and then the new desk and everything over there. And then phase 3 would be all of the things on the adult side, like the sound baffling on the adult side, and the seating area and the fireplace and all that kind of thing. So, yeah, I mean, it can absolutely, it can wait.
Yeah, I guess my question was more like, is there going to be is there going to be a hole in the wall for,
Yeah.
for phase 1 and phase 2? That's gonna sit there until
Yeah,
we
I
get
don't
the
know how
money.
pretty everything will look, but phase 1 is more structural than it is cosmetic. And when it's complete, it will make a big difference, because we'll have the new ADA restrooms, we'll have a better entrance to the children's library, we'll have a better entrance to the garden. So it's really good stuff, and it's important.
And the draw collector said at any given point, while it would be a challenge, the library, because that's what you asked, and, is it still operational? And they said, yes, and we can make that happen.
Yeah, I mean, we may have to close down for a few days, or I don't know. I mean, that's we'll cross that bridge when we come to it kind of a thing.
Should we?
What's your main concern here, Robin? Is it financial? Is it?
It's not really financial. I think it's just more of just feeling overwhelmed by the world in general, and then this project in particular. It's big. Jeremy and I, the biggest project we've ever done together from soup to nuts is the learning lab upstairs, which was, for us, that was a big project. It was over $300,000, but it was one room, and we're talking about basically just taking a sledgehammer to the whole central part of the library. And it's gonna be a big disruption, and it's gonna be just a lot of work and a lot of change. And I just wanna make sure that we're all on the same page before we go ahead with it. And, I wanna make sure that you're all there, with us, because it's really us carrying out what you want us to do.
Is
All
there-
of us,
so- sorry.
all of us have, whether we've been on the board for 6 minutes or 6 years or anywhere in between, I think we tend to defer to what Robin says is right and is necessary, et cetera. I tend to be a person who says, let's go for it. I'm gonna join the caution train here. And if I'm outvoted, that's fine, I don't care. It's one thing to work on one room. It's another thing to say, we're gonna take the main floor and beat it up. And yeah, I know waiting 2 years seems like a long time for the next cycle to come through, but I'll echo the suggestion that perhaps we tap the brakes this time.
And we don't necessarily have to wait 2 years to start the project, because we'll be,
I mean, in
They're
terms of the
talking about the bond
responsibilities
issue
that
for
would come
next
from the
year.
grant.
right, so we can write the Keystone grant for a different part of the project later on.
Mhm.
There's no guarantee that we'll get the funds, but there never is.
But the big thing has to happen anyways at some point.
It does,
So
yes.
it's not like,
Sure. Yeah.
And then there's the other, there's me feeling nervous about getting started, but then there's also me feeling nervous that if we don't do it now, we might not get the chance, because if things do go crazy, at least we'll have done this much.
My
So-
biggest worry, and this is the hole in the wall problem, my biggest worry is we do like half of it, and then all of a sudden we don't have the money. We don't think we're gonna have for some reason, and then can't complete it,
Yeah.
and then what happens then? So should we get the municipality and the commission on the hook for whatever we're gonna get from them first? Before, and that's the bond issue, correct?
Right,
And it could also be other monies
I
from
mean,
them.
we've got verbal commitments from Ann and Keith that this is gonna go forward next year, but I don't really know how bond issues work enough to know that it's, Keith, do you wanna weigh in on this, Pete?
Yeah, I mean,
Because
it's,
in Ohio, you have to have a vote for everything like this. Like,
Yeah.
if we wanted
Oh,
a
yeah, you have to
capital,
vote for
we'd
it.
have to have a capital
Yeah.
levy. And here, they just seem to be able to say, okay, we're gonna make you pay this much money this year, up to a certain amount. So I don't really thoroughly understand it. So if Keith and Ann say, yeah, we can do a bond issue next year, does that mean that we're gonna do a bond issue next year? Or is it gonna be talked and talked and talked, and maybe we'll do a bond issue?
no, I mean, if it can happen rather quickly. A bond issuance is just simply, taking on debt for a particular earmarked project. It happens all the time in, any public entity. So yeah, I mean, it would just really need just a vote from the commission. Someone will come in, give a presentation on the bond, and, yeah, it would happen very quickly, generally. So, I mean, once they want to do it, yeah, it can.
and just from a standpoint of money and fundraising, putting it in chunks actually might make the process simpler to gain money, right? Trying
Marina,
to raise money
Yeah.
versus trying to raise money
right.
can be easier.
And Marina's always she's always telling me, if just give me something concrete that I can ask people for. They want to buy chairs, they want to buy books, they want, they don't just wanna write a check for
Yeah.
vague, general stuff.
And sometimes when people think, oh my gosh, that's a $4 million or whatever thing, they're, their eyes get really like, whoa. But if you are doing phases, they
out,
might be more amenable to the thing.
Right.
Here's a devil's advocate question though. If you're awarded a grant, do you have to take it?
I mean,
I would think not, but I would just check the grant documents, like to
I
say, like,
mean,
if you don't take
from
this
the
grant, you'll be
perspective of,
disqualified from
like,
future
right,
grants or anything
are
like
we
that. I
worried
would- I
that,
would-
like,
I would verify that before we
we're
did that.
worrying about money that we don't have. If we apply for it, we might not even get it. Are we walking away from money on the table if we don't try to get it?
I don't know enough about grants to comment on it, but my
I-
guess would be
What's the max that the Keystone grant can be for?
750.
750.
And we can match that right now just with our funds.
yes,
Which covers phase one,
Which would cover phase one.
right?
yes,
Yeah,
So
so
it
we
gives
have the money
us-
and we actually, there's a little bit of a press to use that money.
yes.
And Draw Collective and Ann were talking about how there are project managers available to sort of take the majority of that
Yes,
off
and
your
that might
shoulders.
be in the,
And
I passed that around.
how much were we talking about getting from a bond?
I mean, the total for the project they're talking about is like $4.1 million, so whatever minus 1.5 million.
And then when we do we'd have to do capital.
Capital improvement to make up, yeah, capital to
I
make
would
up
have to
any.
imagine there would have to be.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
we
it
would craft our like Love Your Library Month and annual appeal asks and things like that.
I mean-
imagine the municipality would probably wanna see something.
Yeah, I mean, I just went through a kitchen renovation that took 25 years off my life, so I also fully understand, I don't want a giant hole in the
Right, well,
wall.
it's kind of the same thing, because the
Yes.
kitchen is the heart of your house, and when you
Yes.
don't have access to your
Yes.
kitchen,
It
it just
was a lot, it
disrupts
was,
everything.
yeah, it was a lot.
And just like taking out our circulation office and our,
Yes.
bathrooms, and like, that is going to be just chaos.
Yes.
Complete chaos.
I think we need to talk to like Keith and Ann again and just say, we're gonna, Keystone, we have this money, we are gonna do a capital campaign, but are we sure we don't wanna do this unless we can do all of this? Are you sure we can get 2.5 to $3 million,
Mhm,
right?
mhm.
Because the chaos is gonna
Through the
happen whether we do
bond,
it next year.
Through
or
any
2 years
bond
from
and
now.
municipality budgeting,
What's that?
through, any municipality bond or budgeting from their end.
Right,
So Bob, are
Like,
you trying
Ann
to say
was-
like, I
Ann
don't
was
wanna
telling-
walk away from this money, this Keystone money, if the municipality's also gonna be like, oops, sorry, is that where, like, what you're thinking?
I mean, I guess it depends on whether we think there's value in only getting one piece of this done.
Yeah.
well, so, okay, so here's what I think, and just, I'm trying to be objective and not, like.
And because it's not just the bond, right? Because Ann was also telling us, there could be funds like that they're using for the ice center and stuff that they can divert. towards.
Unassigned fund balance.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, and that's usually for like emergency kind of things, but yeah, I mean, I guess,
Okay, go on, sorry.
I can't remember what I was gonna say now.
Trying to be objective and
Um,
approach the.
we were debating whether it's worth starting if we end up
Okay,
having to
yeah,
stop after one.
So phase one is the key, most essential part of the project.
Mhm.
We would not be touching the money that the Lean Bush Foundation gave us, because that is earmarked for the children's
How
department.
much is that?
About $125,000. And the Friends have also offered to support this project.
Okay.
So if we get phase one done with our fund balance and, the Keystone, and then for whatever reason, we're unable to do anything further, we would at least have 125,000 and possibly Friends support to do something nice in the children's area, even if it's not to the full extent of this project.
I say do it.
I do too.
Would it, I read somewhere, perhaps in your report, Mount Lebanon does not typically handle construction managers. Do we need a construction manager?
But they normally don't outsource it because they have their own, and Draw Collective said they has theirs too.
Yeah,
Okay.
so the municipality works with Gateway Engineers for a lot of their projects.
Yes,
So, but when we did the room upstairs, we still had to put it out for bid and bring the construction company, that was the successful bidder, they had their own like point person. I don't know any of the terminology, so, yes.
I know we don't meet next month. Would it be appropriate for some combination of us, whoever is available, to join in a meeting with whomever from the municipality and sort of hash out.
So we've done this once.
Yeah, I don't know that we need to meet with them again. I
Okay.
think we just need to make a decision, and I wanted to make sure I was sure of your decisions before I went any further with this, because it
Mhm.
felt like everybody was like, yay, we're so excited, oh, this is gonna be great, and we're gonna do this and this, and then it just felt like it was kind of dead in the water. And now it's like, well, what if we just kind of start inching our way towards getting this done? And I just wanted to know how you all felt about
Why
it.
did it feel dead in the water?
I don't know. It just felt like it was, like there was nowhere to go until the bond issue, basically, because they told us, you know, oh, well, we're not gonna be
And
able to
when
do the
is that exactly?
Keystone next year,
Like early next year?
like spring, I wanna say, like this is about the
12.
time.
I mean,
where
it's spring
you're-
now, so we
Yeah,
didn't get it
well,
on the bond this year.
No, they're
Okay.
doing rec department for this year.
Okay.
So it probably would be literally this day next year, whatever the third Tuesday of May is.
If the Keystone grant was still yearly, I would say wait a year, but being that it's gonna be 2 years,
I think we should go.
I
for
think
it.
we should go for it.
I do too, especially since Straw said you'll help, you got Mora, you've got.
Like you said, who knows if there is a Keystone grant?
We'll be one of those where we get all the people and do a book chain around the library and we'll move things and all the
Sure.
humans will pile in and help and.
Yeah, I'm happy to help with the grant process if you need it.
Thank you, and I know Maura has grant
Yeah, Laura
experience.
said she did too, so.
I appreciate that very,
I mean,
very
if that's the
much.
first step in this.
And
it's-
Marina will appreciate that very much.
Yeah.
Suzanne, what do you think? I don't mean to put you on the spot.
Suzanne's face just now is priceless.
A lot's going
It
on
feels like a
for
lot,
you.
right?
I
It feels
feel
like a
like
lot.
you're going through a lot. And
Well, we
I'm
all are,
wondering
we all
if
are.
if you hired an additional staff person on your staff, would that help?
Oh, it would be nice, but no, I'm not really able to do that. Just, we have a certain budget for staff. and I can't.
Okay,
That's why we have Jeremy, and, you know, Jeremy's had a year with
Yeah.
his injury and everything. But he's pretty much back to normal, so we'll be fine. I think we just need really clear, like, go for it, or I think Jeremy and I both felt that it was like kind of being left too much up to us to make this incredibly major decision when it's really the board's, you know.
But the board doesn't, I mean, once we get to
You
capital
say-
campaign and
You
stuff,
say
we're gonna be
do
doing
it
some
and we
work.
carry it out is the thing.
Right.
So I just need to hear a very firm do it or wait.
Do it.
Do you
I
wanna
think what you're
vote?
doing, Robin, is we don't wanna push you into doing something you're not comfortable.
We'll
with
be
doing.
here for you.
Yes.
We'll be here for
I'm
you.
comfortable with it, but I'm not gonna.
The
If I
live-
hear,
we
if
don't
I
have
hear
to
some,
live through
if I
the-
hear from you that you don't feel comfortable with it, I don't wanna push you
No,
there.
no, we will be fine as long as we know what,
Is this yes just to go for the money right now, or is this a yes for, we're going through the construction right now?
this is yes, we want you to talk to Draw Collective and see if we can get a grant application together for this grant cycle.
Then I would say yes.
Yes, yes.
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 Everybody's on board with that?
Yes.
Okay. I will talk to Jeremy and Draw tomorrow and inform Keith and Ian, just so that they're aware.
We need fully ADA compliant restrooms
Yeah,
upstairs.
well,
Yeah.
the elevator being out showed us that.
Yes.
That was bad.
Okay, you feel good about that?
I think that ADA compliance is important. I think opening up that view into the gardens
Right.
is gonna blow people's minds and
Right.
allow you to raise more money later.
All right, I will go forward with that. Thank you for your help. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Keep us updated.
It's
So
just a
that,
it's just a
so
very
that's-
big deal to be like.
so then that
I'm
is,
going to
then
spend $4 million
applying, then
of taxpayer
applying,
money, like, sure, why
applying
not?
for that grant is our next step then.
Yes.
Right now.
And that has to be in by,
I think it's October, it might be September, late
okay,
September.
okay.
It's a lot of work, like, it'll be,
Okay.
you know, getting letters from people like Dan Miller, getting all these different quotes for all of these different parts of this thing. But Job will help us with all of that, so.
Is there anyone here on staff who's done specifically a Keystone grant before?
Marina,
Okay, because I don't.
And Jeremy and I
don't
were
know
here
anything
for
about
it
but
and helped.
Sometimes it's like you send something across
Yes.
the wall when you vote for something. Sometimes it's like an ongoing process and there's deadlines along the way, so I just would be interested in some.
Absolutely, and I will,
What is
yeah,
the connection that, the process?
and I'll talk to Marina about to see if she feels as though any of you, some people like to do things a certain way and don't necessarily want outside help, but I know she's also, looking at wrapping things up, and this is a major project
Mhm.
that she thought was off her plate, so tomorrow's gonna be a big surprise for her.
She
Um,
likes me.
She thinks, she
I wonder
thinks
after
she's
a few
retiring
days.
next June, right?
Well,
Okay.
I would rather keep her myself, but
Sent you to us.
Is-
I keep telling my staff, no one's allowed to retire before I do, but nobody listens to me. They just keep going. Thank you, everyone.
You're welcome. Is that it for old business?
Yes.
Okay, so new business, originally, the governance committee was planning to have updated policy drafts to show you all today, but we do not. We do have one that's finished, it's a small one, but it's so small, we didn't think it was worth presenting by
There's no
itself.
urgency, no.
There's no urgency on that one. We have a couple other ones that are far larger and more complex. And we are also thinking about folding some policies into one of the larger and more complex ones. And we have 3 governance committee members, who all have opinions. We have Robin who has opinions, and then we're also sending stuff to the municipal attorney, correct, to get
Yes. Well,
feedback.
Yeah, and we've consulted with him already on,
Yeah.
so that part's done.
It's done, we're just not fully in sync yet, and we've decided we need to have one more governance committee to put in some serious work, because we don't wanna present something that we're not happy with, or is a little sloppy, or isn't as pristine as we want it to be.
And it's not that easy
the
to
full
do it
board.
on email.
Yeah, we thought we were gonna be able to bank,
Yeah.
we're all incredibly busy, we were not able to come up with a meeting date everybody could do. We thought we were gonna be able to do it on email this week, and that did not work out, because there are a lot of yellow lines and red lines and questions, and we just wanna get them into a better state before we get to you.
Sure.
So the 2 options we're looking at is presenting in July, voting in September, or presenting in September, voting in October, November. I am hoping for the latter. I have dates from all 3 of you. We are going to try to get together so that we can present as long as they're done by the end of the year, we're okay, let's be clear. But I am still hoping we can present in July. So that's what we're up to, and that's what we're doing. Again, we have one done. We didn't think that one was worth presenting. We want to present some really big fun stuff to you guys that you'll be able to sink your teeth into. So that's what's going on there. So that means we have nothing to present under new business today. I apologize. Do we have any other new business? Okay. Any final things, Robin, from your end?
Not that I can think of.
When is our next meeting?
It is in July, correct?
Yes. It's early, I think it's July 15th, it's really early.
July 15th.
Yeah.
I hope.
It's on the calendar right now, so.
I need to check something.
In your April meeting notes, you should have the list of, meetings for the year, so you can put them all in your calendar. But if you need me to send that to you again, let me know. Or you can go back and give them to look in April.
And yeah, they might have went out to all of us, but Suzanne sent me dates that are good and bad for her. Kristen did the same. I know I have yours. I know we're all busy, but I'm gonna go through in the next week.
Yeah,
And
find out what
hopefully-
dates are available.
I'm hopefully could be like, this week looks pretty good for everybody. Let's try to get like a 2-hour block or something.
Okay.
Okay. We can go ahead and adjourn this meeting then. You may stop recording, Robin. And I
Do you need
vote,
to motion to adjourn?
can I accept? Yeah, sure. If someone would like to make a motion to adjourn, Holiday,
Second if it's necessary.
we have a second. All in favor of? Aye. Any nays? Anybody want to keep having this meeting? No nays. I would vote we do, I would vote
Cake.
I would vote that we advocate while we eat cake.
That's
Okay.
a terrific idea.
I am